Okay, folks, welcome back. Welcome to the jungle. Yeah, don't have the plants here for it yet, but this isn't going to be somewhere that's there's going to be traffic issues, or there are because you're trying to put a car somewhere that it can't go. All right. How we on charge? Oh, we're good. All right. So here we are with Airfix's Jungle Outpost. And there's still some work to do with it. All the heavy work is done. Got it pretty happy with how it looks. Need to take pictures of it in natural light because this is just giving it a lot of kickback, as I like to call it. There's things on here that are highlighted in such a way so that they stand out, and they look a lot brighter than they really are on film. The roof in particular, but I looked at this last night and I'm like, man, I went too far with lightening up some of this stuff. And then I went and put the little Italian thing, which, by the way, this looks perfectly like I want it to, next to it. I go, yeah, no, it looks fine. It's not too crazy. It's not like there's snow on the roof or anything like that. But as I considered giving the roof a wash, and I may still do that at some point, it just has to be a lighter color than the dark tone, because otherwise, that'll go away. I guess the way to do it is to practice on this and see if I like it any better. So maybe we will do that. Maybe we'll do that. We will do that this morning. Now, one of these is deadly. It's got red in it. It's got a lot of red. We don't want to do that with that. It'll just cause us to redo them. But honestly, this is a process of experimentation. And I do all this kind of stuff all the time. It just doesn't seem like it's very risky because I kind of gotten used to what doesn't work. So we don't do that. Don't do the stuff that we know that doesn't work, and everything else we can just kind of finagle along the way. I'm gonna use a new one of these for this, because the really cool thing about these gels is that they thin really well with water. Really well. Like, they're not like, they don't separate or anything. All right, let's put this back on, and let's get these three sisters out here. I have all the browns on the brown tone that they make. All right, this one is soft tone. Okay. Mid brown. I believe this is the one that's red. Yeah, we don't want to use that one. And then light tone is orange. Orangish. Orange. Yes. Okay. So, good Lord. Soft tone. All right, let's take a soft tone. And let's get a brush that's not too expensive. And see what this looks like here. And then if we water this down, I like that better, I think. Now let's do one better and apply this as some streaking. I really like this product because it's thick. It's relatively thick. It thins really well with water. In other words, it kind of stays where you put it. I'm not just going to evenly apply it. I'm going to do some streaking with it. And it goes a long way. I feel like it goes a long way. Now the only catch is it's going to look it's going to look glossy. It does have a gloss aspect to it. Now the wash that we put on last night on these center beams to make them stand up a little bit more is the what they call strong tone. And that's the darkest brown one. I mean, technically you could probably make it even darker brown one, but you'd have to customize it yourself. All right, so here's the difference. It's an improvement. It's definitely an improvement, I think. Put on the glasses. Definitely an improvement. Okay. You flimsy fucker. Might actually have to put that on something. It's just, it doesn't weigh anything. All right. Get out of your comfort zone, folks, and try something different. It might just turn out better than you think. All right, I'm going to put this on one of my assistants as soon as I can find it to help hold this thing down. It doesn't need to be on this base, but this just allows me to move it without getting this stuff all over my hands, and then transferring it onto something else that doesn't need to have this stuff. This is the, I don't know if it makes that much of a difference, but this is the top. And now that I think about it, I actually usually apply this as the final stage. If I'm using this for weathering. Yeah, it's definitely better. You got to make sure it doesn't have any red in it. Now, one thing actually would be handy is get the yellow one. Add a little bit of the yellow to it. Problem is you find these at a store and like they don't have all the colors. They're frequently out of the strong tone and the black one, which is called dark tone. I should just call them the black wash, the dark brown wash, the, stuff you can actually remember them by. So there's kind of like this center ridge up here. I want to make sure this is covered with this. Well, wouldn't that fade the most? Yeah, but this is also probably where all the mildew and shit would probably be. Well, today's a Monday, and I'm not really dreading it. Oh, be careful. Don't run your mouth until the day's over with. I had a really productive weekend. I got a lot of stuff done. I didn't buy anything. I didn't buy anything I wasn't supposed to. I survived the temptation, meaning I didn't buy palm trees or anything yet. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to buy palm trees. I'm going to do a palm tree comparison and jungle plants and all that stuff. But we're not going to do that until we get the regular deciduous jungle trees taken care of. And for that, I don't think that's a product that I can buy. I think I'm going to have to make those. So, because at the end of the day, if I had all those things, if I had all those palm trees, I'm still missing the jungle. You can't have a jungle without most of the jungle trees. And it's gonna involve ordering some stuff online, because you can go to the store and there's options they have in the store, but the options are more like, do you buy it or you not buy it? Because it's not like there's different choices for doing different things. I've noticed there's a brand, and the name of it escapes me, but there's a brand that's available that I've seen frequently available in stores, and it is I think a poor brand of products, and they're extremely overpriced, and they make like little tufts and stuff like that. It's like this generic brand. I forget. It looks super generic, and it's really really expensive. I'm like, that just shouldn't cost that. And and it's not impressive. It's not like it's something that looks, at least to me, it doesn't look that good. They make a little gravel and stuff like that, and it's not Woodland Scenics, but they make like it's like a Woodland Scenics knockoff. But the packaging isn't very tempting, and it's really expensive. And Woodland Scenics is pretty expensive themselves. That's much better than this side. Look at the comparison here. That's probably more fair there. Now, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time documenting, okay, I use this color and then I use this one or whatever, because a lot of this stuff I wing. And if they're slightly different, like if I was making a whole village of this stuff and they're slightly different, that's okay. The most difficult thing about this kit is getting these two halves at the right angle. This was literally a pain in the ass. So it was so much that I put a big fat bead of epoxy down it so it wouldn't move on me. I mean, unless it snapped. Oh, this cleans off your brushes really easy too. And it's not an enamel product. And this is fun to do. For whatever reason, I enjoy doing these. The drippings, as I like to call them. Yeah, it looks better. Definitely looks better. Yep. Adds more depth. As long as you keep adding colors, it's going to keep looking better unless you're killing the contrast. Then it's a step in the wrong direction, in my opinion. Well, now I can't say it's all done with craft paint because there's some of this wash from Army Painter, but except for that, all done with craft paint. And we did this one too, right? Yeah. Yep. Now we can go back to the inside of the walls. Okay, the inside of the walls it was getting a little too wet. It was getting difficult to work with that. Let's move the roofs over here. The roofage. And mine didn't come with a base. I think that originally this kit came with one of those plastic bases. I think you can buy it aftermarket. It's made by a company in the UK. Starts with an A. I don't know what it is. You can get them on eBay. Altezza, something like that. Some Italian sounding name that starts with an A. Some of you guys will tell me what it is here. Probably in a little bit. I saw them. You can get them on eBay or whatever. This set didn't come with one. I don't know if the kit didn't include it, or I know there's different versions of it. The one I got I got it at a flea market at a convention from a guy, and he was selling it for $8. And considering how much this thing goes for on eBay, I think I got a pretty good deal. And I've gotten more than $8 worth of enjoyment out of it. So that's kind of a win. Well, mine did not come with a base. Had it come with a base, I probably wouldn't mount on the base anyways. Because the problem isn't that it's on a base, it's that you have this base and now you have to work into your terrain. And, I guess it would be okay. Like, I don't have a problem with the base being on a German plane that's crashed. I guess you kind of treat it the same way. But the problem is the base is probably going to be square looking. Like, if I was going to put this on a base with this little lean-to, right? There's a couple things that end up becoming an issue for me. First of all, I can't have it permanently attached to the base because there's going to be the same way I'm not going to glue the roof on here because there's activities that could happen in here that you need to move figures around in because this isn't just a static display. It's to game on. It's to put little Japanese guys or Anzac guys fighting it or whatever, fighting over it. And we need to put a ladder up here. We'll never get up to the top level. Because I guess that's the only point. I guess you can put a ladder here and a ladder here. That's the only way up. But, there's going to be conflict resolutions up here, right? Good morning, Mr. Barnes. So we can't have the roofs permanently attached. And same thing, I don't want this attached to a base if I had one, because I guarantee you there's some guys that are going to be sneaking around the bottom here and doing that kind of stuff, doing nefarious activities behind, You want to get in there, maybe start a fire underneath your fucking house and burn you out from the bottom up, right? You can't do that if you have a base because, trying to get guys in between here, you know. So I may put it on a base but it's removable, and then put little markers here where it goes. That way you could put something down there, you know, I'm not sure what, but something that's detailed. I haven't decided that yet, but it definitely needs to be able to be removed, and then go, okay, these guys are now in a close combat or whatever. All right, their turn's over with. Put it back down. You know, so in between turns, you get to see what it actually looks like, kind of thing. Good morning, Marcus. And just for you, the bottom is not painted. Ah! Goes back into your cave. Ah! So we just got done giving it a light wash, a light streaking wash of the soft tone, and it softened it down. Oh, look at that. It just had a little bit too much white balance. No offense, Barnes. It is my favorite color to say. White. Quite white. But it kind of... Because I'm getting a lot of what I like to call kickback. And that is, the camera is showing you guys things that are a lot brighter than they really are, just from the reflectiveness of this. Okay? So, this is looking a lot better. And every color layer you can add to this is going to make it look better. So if you dry brush and like, oh, I dry brushed and it doesn't look very good. Well, you use one color, dude. You got to use like at least 3, and you know. And I'm not big on washes, but I'm starting to be, as enhancers, and yeah. So I think I'm getting my $8 worth of enjoyment out of this. I think this is a pretty good buy. So, anyhow, we're not even close to being done with this thing. This is going to be like something worth taking. Now, I actually considered putting something on here so I could put a flagpole. Any excuse to paint like a rising sun flag, or you know, you could change it. It might not be, you know, the rising sun. It might be somebody else. You hate painting white. Why? You just have to decide if it's going to be shaded bluish or shaded brownish. You know, I actually like painting white, but there's a guy a while ago that did a post on the miniatures page back in the day when I used to give a shit what was on that page. Now it's just like impossible to navigate through. And he had painted a whole set of miniatures. I forget what they were. I want to say they're World War II stuff, all using black, white, grays. So he basically did a black and white picture with miniatures. And although it was really well done, I can't think of anybody who would dislike that more than me, because I don't watch black and white movies, and that's basically what it is. You signed yourself up to paint a black and white movie. You know, right? Nope, not going there. Not gonna do there. Not gonna do that. So I like to paint in Technicolor. So I'm actually considering taking the floor and giving it a wash. I'm considering it. But before I do that, I need to do the walls, because the walls look pretty shitty. And the walls look pretty shitty because I'm trying to cover a really watery color with black. Ah, you shouldn't have primed it in black. I prime everything in black. Always and always will. Because I hate the idea of a tiny little crease somewhere in the corner, all the way in the back corner somewhere, that's a glaring bright color. Shouldn't be. You bought AK Intense White, trying that out for final highlight. Yeah. My only issue that I need to work on, I mean, I need to work on a lot. The only thing I feel like I need to work on is that when I go and paint something, say I'm going to paint this color, I have a tendency of starting too dark. And sometimes if I start higher up, then it just depends on how deep the creases are in something. Like if you start too high up, then whatever you do isn't dark enough. But if you start too dark, then the crevices have too much shadow for the depth of the material. Does that make sense? You know, like if you're painting a crack that goes into the earth a mile down, right? It's going to have more shadow than something that's just sheets of paper laying on top of each other, if that makes sense. So I have a tendency to start too dark, which, whatever. I mean, you know, it's just, that's just my style, you know, but, and I'm working on that. But, like the bamboo floor, I may have, that's not a good example because I actually like the way it looks. But, you know, I could have not had so much black, added so much darkness to it, and started a little bit up towards the top of the color, of the main color, closer to the main color. I don't think that's the case with the floor. I'm just looking at the floor. That's what came to mind. But anyhow, I'm trying to work on that. I'm trying to work on that so that it's exactly what I want when I get done with it. So. White is the last color I have on my deck for the insignia. My favorite part, but small amounts of white. Slightly diluted contrast paint. I don't have any of them, but I think I want to get, after this experience I just had, I want to get all these tones. Even if they're green. Well, maybe I don't need the purple one. But the green one was out the other day. Because they dilute really well with water. They're like really pleasant to do. But, you know, I did this streaking on this house. I don't know if you guys can see this, but this mildew on the house, that's not done with this stuff, because I don't have the color. I use the whatever the hell it's called, the resin. I made my own drippings. Whatever it's called. I can never remember what the hell the damn thing's called. But I wish it was clear, but it's kind of milky. So you're like thinking, like, is this really going to work? But it did. And then just, you know, just use regular paint with it. You could probably dilute regular paint as well, but I like that it gets applied. It's kind of thick when you apply it in a way, so it doesn't run all over the place. Not like, all right, I want this right here, and you're like, oh my God, it's spreading, you know? So, what you doing? I love saying it that way. We're painting this Airfix jungle house. The jungle, I said jungle hut. It's too big for a hut. Hut's like there's no corners and it's like, you gotta be like, you know, you can't like poop in a corner of a hut. You know, everybody will see you. There's a corner you can get to. Nobody can see you in here. Jungle Outpost. Airfix Jungle Outpost. What are you doing? Oh man, where is that resin stuff? See, now I need to find it. Because now I'm like, oh, maybe I could mess around with that a little bit. You go to the store that sells these, and they make like 4 browns, one black, but they only make like 1 green, 1 blue, 1 purple. I wouldn't need the purple one, but and they're frequently out of different colors. A big shout out to Merlaton and FedEx. Order arrived inside 5 days, including 2 days sat in lazy London over the weekend. I have had not great luck from FedEx. I'm not a FedEx fan, but most of the time when we order things, and when I mean you and me as a we we don't get to pick what shipping service they use. Because for the longest time, at least for me in the United States, the best one was UPS. UPS leaves it at your door. They work on weekends, etc., etc. Nobody's worse than the Postal Service. You know, I have had all kinds of issues with them. UPS was the best one. Save Amazon. Amazon blows UPS away. Now, of course, Amazon only delivers things that come through Amazon. So it's not like, hey, I'd like my item that's normally would be delivered here to go through Amazon. You know, doesn't work that way. But is that a UK Merliton or the original one in Italy? Because Italian shipping is really expensive, and at least for us. And so is shipping from Spain. Those places frequently, you got to order a lot of stuff where the shipping's more than what you ordered. Yeah, don't you hate it when you have tracking? It's like, it's sitting in a fucking corner. Nobody's paying attention to it. Like, get up off your ass. I already paid for this. Get it to me. Gimme. Your soul is like leaving your body. It's just sitting in a corner, just, you know, just bugging you. But I resisted. I had a successful weekend. I got a lot of painting done, not necessarily a lot done, but I didn't order palm trees. I didn't, from Italy. 18-pound postage. That's a lot. That's a lot, but I ordered one book from Spain one time that was like it was like a $50 book, and it was like $50 shipping. It was like $100 for this book. And then when I got it, I was very disappointed in the artistry in it. What's up, Yo-Yo? I watched one of your videos. I don't know what the hell I was watching, man. It was like a fun house. It's like the world's smallest fun house. What was that all about? I hope you didn't pay to go in there. I'm like, man, this isn't worth $1.50. There's like one bridge. It's like a bad trip, and then you're like, I'm out. I'm like, and there's no narration or description of what it is. So I don't know what I'm looking at. Justin's Funhouse. All right, where's that bloody resin? Okay, the retarder's up here, so the retardation's happening up here. Glaze medium, here we go. We're gonna need that, and we're gonna need the wall. And I believe, I don't know what color I used, but I certainly don't need something that bright. I think this as a base would probably be all right for the wall. Blake's Apple Orchard in Armada, Michigan. He just happened to have that fun house just because. Hey, you know what this Apple Orchard needs? What? Needs a fun house to fuck with kids. Yeah. I remember we went into a hall of mirrors one time when I was younger. I was probably, I don't know if I was in my teens or around 10 or 11. I still remember my scientific dad. My dad is a scientific dad. And he says, just follow the right-hand wall. You can get out. I'm like, well, what if the right-hand wall leads you to a fiery pit? Well, maybe skip that part. He says, right. Well, why not the left-hand wall? Well, he's right-handed. Yeah. When I was growing up, I didn't know any left-handed people. I'm not anti-left-handed people, okay? But I didn't know any left-handed people. And now, it seems like a third of the people are left-handed. There's a lot more left-handed people. Maybe not a third, but maybe 25%. You know, when I was in school, nobody was left-handed. You had those left-handed chairs. Every home, you know, you'd have that seat that has that has the desk built in. You know what I'm talking about. The one that you wouldn't be able to fit in now, and if you could, you'd be all like hunched over and have like fucking back problems when you were done with that class, right? But as a kid, you could do all that contortionist stuff. So every room would have like, I don't know, 25 chairs, 20 chairs, and 2 or 3 of them would be left-handers, and nobody would be left-hander to use them. It's not like all the left-handed people would run over there and use it. All right, I'm not anti-left-handed people. I'm just saying when I was a kid, it didn't exist. It wasn't an issue. They're famous for their hard cider. Well, that sounds good. So you have the hard cider, and then you go in the fun house, and then that's where the excitement begins. I don't know that I can apply this without adding a little bit of. Look at that! I just opened it, closed it, and I still got black shit all over me. Well, I finally got around to watching a movie that I'd been wanting to watch for a while, and then realized, why did I waste my fucking time? Typical movie experience, and that was The Purge. I found out that was available with commercial interruption. What a waste of fucking time. But then, you're so far into it, by the time you realize it's a piece of shit. Like, well, you gotta finish it now. One of those movies that, if the wrong person sees it, it could set them off. Like, you gotta be careful. Like, I don't like things being banned, but some people are. What's the thing some people are is it splinter cell? They're waiting to be set off by something. That was actually a movie I considered watching with my mom, and I'm glad I didn't. I'm like, she wouldn't have liked that. She said a little bit of this. I don't remember where I left off on this. And it does need to have some darkness to cover over the black here that's going on. Looks like we moved past this point. All right. This is the only thing I don't remember where I left off. I didn't put a whole lot of thought into this. And it painted the inside. See, do we like that, or is it a little too bright? Let's just. See, watering this down a little bit, but it might actually be helpful. But the problem is I don't want to get it on the floor. We'll get this. It's just going to take a lot longer than it should. Paint this relatively dry so that we can do multiple layers on it. All right, that's looking all right. One more layer on top of that would be all right. I mean, there's rarely do I come across a movie where it's like, that thing was freaking amazing. And never do I come across something like, man, we should buy that movie. Why? I think the last movie we bought was something that we bought for my daughter because she was little. Like, really little. Like, something to pacify her on a car ride. Back when streaming on your phone wasn't an option. Now it's like you don't need physical copies of any of that stuff. I came across my CDs, which I don't have a ton of CDs, but I'm like, I should just get rid of these. And I'm like, it's the last time I played a CD. Well, let's see. I played a CD in my first car, which I got rid of in 2008. And I don't know that I ever played. I don't know that I've played a CD in a car since 2008. I may have once, but I certainly don't have those CD covers. I saw that on somebody's vehicle the other day. They had the CDs, that underneath the sunshade, right? Backside of the sunshade, they got the sleeve there with all the CDs. Remember, everybody used to have those things. And you're like, man, why would you want the CD in something where it's not with the dust jacket, right? That sometimes the dust jacket's one of the best things. Well, now it's like, I don't even want the CD anymore. That's probably killing people in the music industry. People that make music, the fact that nobody buys their music anymore, they all go through a streaming service, I bet that hurts them. You still play DVDs and CDs. I don't. I rarely listen to music. If I do, we have one of those streaming services. I don't know, it's a waste of money. Well, the girls are going to do it anyways, and it's handy. I don't listen to that often because otherwise I'll just end up driving too fast. And movies, I don't want to You dickweed. I don't want to rewatch something I've seen before. And I'm not really much of a movie person. I just talk about them because, it's something to talk about. But we threw away all your CDs over the weekend. Did you try to sell them somewhere? Maybe there's nowhere to sell them. And vinyl? Why the hell would you want to have vinyl? First of all, I'm too young for vinyl to be a thing. I didn't get into music until cassette tapes were a thing. And I have a few cassette tapes, but those were out. Yeah, sometimes you can have too much clutter, Having more stuff isn't better. Sometimes it gets in your way of being able to see, what's in front of you. And I know it's difficult and it's a personal decision. So at some point, you just get to the point where it's like, I'm tired of bringing these things around. I'm tired of these guys ruining, whatever it is. Basing my whole life around that. And that's without being somebody who has like a compulsion. Like, I know somebody that apparently their mother had, and I said supposedly because it's this person's word of mouth, so hopefully they're not making this up. If you're going to make something up, you could do better than this. But she was a compulsive hoarder. She literally would keep every single Tupperware that, like your cottage cheese comes in, she'd keep both ends. I'm like, that's just stuff taking over your life, man. That's like, pretty soon you can't even operate. And I like to not throw things away because I've not had stuff before. Luckily, it was many, many years ago, but It's not like I come from money and I've always had stuff. There's stuff that I haven't had before, so I'm like, I don't want to throw this away because it's a waste. I might need it or whatever. But I don't keep cardboard boxes of things. If it's just an empty cardboard box. Vinyl's in the loft. They say DVDs are coming back because people are tired of streaming. Okay. I don't want to rewatch stuff, so. I don't really like watching television. This is not working. This is not working. This bloody thing is not going well. All right, what do we need to change? We need to use. I'm thinking a brush that's not so abrasive. It's like I'm putting the paint on and I'm wiping it off at the same time. Let's paint that's thicker. Let's try this. And this isn't enjoyable to do. Like, there's no creativity in like, hey, I might just paint this wall in one color. Okay. All right, that's better. You need to stipple it. Okay, got it. And there's some things that may not work for you that work for other people. Like, if it was up to me and you, there probably wouldn't be any YouTube influencers. I'm not talking about people that have YouTube content, like how to make trees or something like that. I'm talking about people that are like, hey, look at me, I'm going to go do something stupid. Like, okay, I don't watch that stuff. But yet there's millions of people that watch that. There's people that are into retro gaming. Look, I'm not going back and playing games with EGA graphics. Okay, I did that. Hey, let me get a Tandy computer so I can play King's Quest again. Like, I ain't doing that shit. Never had a Tandy computer to begin with. Oh, I got this big TV, so I can play Space Invaders. Who the fuck wants to play Space Invaders? I didn't want to play it the first time it was out. I didn't play Pitfall on a 90-inch TV. No! Each pixel's like fucking this big then, like, or probably won't even call pixels. Yeah, okay, this works. I'm not real particular about what look I'm looking for the inside. I just want it to be, honestly, the inside of this should have been the same as the outside. Should have been a bunch of reeds and stuff, but they don't want to do that. Oh no, we don't want to do that. Yep, that's what we needed to do. Jungle Jump game. Yeah, Pitfall. One of those games that's fun at the beginning, and after a while it's like, man, this is like too much jumping. Then you die, you gotta start over. I'm like, I'm not 7 anymore. I don't want to do that shit. That's what they should have called that game, Jungle Jump. If they call it Pitfall, you're playing the game wrong. Hey, I can't wait to play Pitfall. You're not going to win that way. You're not going to win falling into the pits. That's not how you win that game. we're going to play this World War II game and I want you to play Japan. What's the game called? It's called Eat a Nuke. No, you need to win the war before you eat a nuke. Your youngest granddaughter is on a school trip today to a retro gaming museum. Well, some stuff is okay, but it's like graphics. Like, graphics don't need to be 4K, but man, they can't be like Minecraft. I can't believe Minecraft had any takers. Because it's the same graphics. It's actually like worse graphics than there was on Doom in 1992. Right? And as somebody who's nearsighted and has blurry vision, if I don't put these fuckers on, or my contacts, why do I want to look at something that makes it look like blurry? Why do I want to play Catan where it looks like I have the vision of a bee with all these hexagons with like very little detail? I'm not interested in that kind of stuff. I look at it, I'm like, who the hell what kind of medication are you on that makes you want to play this? So I never understood Minecraft. It's not the building stuff. That part's fine. It's the blurriness of it. The blockiness and the blurriness of it. I have an issue with blurry because I got to deal with blurry all the time. Why would I sign up for that? So I never understood the popularity of that. Or the apparent popularity of it. So, am I out of touch? Sure. If it was up to me, Fortnite would have never been created. This game with reasonable graphics that's stress-inducing, where your game field gets smaller, and then you just build a fucking you shoot people. Okay, I'm with you on that. But then you're building this like ladder to the fucking sky out of nowhere. Like, what? What kind of drugs make you want to play that? How is that popular? A retro gaming museum, like pinball and stuff. We had this place that opened up a couple years ago. I've been to it twice at the beginning. And it's something I would have loved as a kid. And it's this place where you pay a flat fee, and they have all these video games that you get to. And it's even better than that. It's a flat fee, and you can stay as long as you want, as long as they don't close. So if the place closes at midnight, you can stay till midnight, right? That's it. And then you gotta leave because the place is closing down. But it's a flat fee. You can play all the video games you want. Here's the problem. I don't want to play any of those video games. Now, what I did spend most of the time is on the pinball because I would never have spent real money on playing pinball. But now it doesn't cost me any more, so I don't mind playing pinball. And they had one pinball machine. What was the theme of it? Guns N' Roses, which I am not a Guns N' Roses fan. I don't necessarily dislike that kind of music. I just don't like them. And we get a soda. And I spent a significant amount of time playing that game in particular. Oh shit. I'm out of soda. Okay, well, purple drink it is. And but a third of the games there didn't work. They're out of service. So I don't like going to places where things are broken. I don't like going to museums like a science museum. They'll have these science museums for kids, right? And we'd go to them when my daughter was little. And like half the stuff was like trashed. I don't like going to a store and like the shelves are empty and there's like no crisis, right? If a hurricane's coming and people are stocking up on whatever, okay, the shelves are allowed to be bare. But if I go to Walmart now and I go down this aisle and like there's only a third of the products in the aisle, I'm like, it's depressing. Well, Walmart's depressing anyways. But I don't like seeing shelves empty. Not things aren't well stocked. It makes me angry. It's like, it's like we're fighting a war and we don't, and we're not winning kind of thing. You play Gunsmoke a lot. You're done with video gaming. Briefly look at a game kind of like Civilization, but based purely on the Bronze Age. Decided against it. I'm not there yet, but I'm getting there. And I think the big thing is there's nobody to talk about. Like, if you're playing a video game, because video games for me started off like, okay, oh, we got to take turns playing something. Well, that's kind of annoying. And like, oh, we can both play at the same time, like a LAN or something like that. All right, that's pretty cool, right? And then you get to these online games, like, oh, now I don't have to hook up to people physically. Now I can talk to them on a stereo, on a microphone. And then this whole race of people that like to cut each other down and talk trash for no fucking reason. Because I'm pro cussing, but I'm not in favor of cussing at people. Like, if you stub your toe and you say the F-bomb, no problem, right? But just selling, you're a piece of crap and and you're never going to meet these people. So you're not even trash talking with your friends. You're basically like being aggressive towards people that you're never going to meet, or they're being aggressive towards you, or they're just a maladjusted 7-year-old who has parents that don't want to raise you and put you in front of a mature rated game, and and you're just spouting stuff off all the time. Like, do I video game with people online? Occasionally. Do I ever have the mic on? No. I don't know what you're saying, and I don't care what you're saying. So it just got to the point where it's like, it was something you did by yourself, then it became social, now it's something you do by yourself, and I'm like, I'd rather just do this. So I'm not completely out of it, but, I went on that, whatever that free-to-pay play game enlisted thing is, and there's some good boards for the Japanese, and I specifically went in there to kind of see what some of the terrain thing is. Oh, this looks cool. How many? But they got banana plants here. Or how much space there is. I didn't go in there and like do like a land survey. Everybody's shooting at you. You're like, hold on a second. We got to measure things out. Hold on. We got the we got to see how many steps it is from the banana tree to the latrine. Not so much, but I was there just to kind of get ideas for the environment. And like I played a lot of, what is it, World of Warships? I've never heard somebody's voice in that game, ever. On how it works, but it's like, you'll play some game, it's like, all right, let me play this adult game, and you hear some, why are you guys such assholes? I'm like, I don't want to listen to that crap all day long, I have this flight simulator on the Oculus. That's really good. It's really good. I don't know how realistic it is, but it's really good where you can fly by a plane and track them. Like, you can look off the side. You can physically look and you can see a plane down there. And it's all World War II. They make a World War I version. Like, oh, this is great. We can game. We can talk about with people that are World War II aficionados or whatever. No, everybody's on there just playing a game like it was Galo. Doesn't matter whether it was World War II or just some ridiculous first-person shooter. They don't really get to them. It's just a game. I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of a missed opportunity there for me. So I'm almost there, Barnes, but not quite. They allow me to do things that they allow you to game when there's no gaming to be done. So at least I can let me see a Japanese tank in action, or let me run over some guy or something like that in a tank or something. But I used to be a lot more excited about them. And then I'm like, okay, how long is it going to be before I find all the faults in this and don't want to play it? But different people find different things fun. I can't think of anything less fun than chess, or on the opposite end of chess, ping pong. I'd rather play chess. Chess is work, and ping pong is stress. Like, why would you want to play ping pong? But there's people that play that. It's like, I don't know how you have the patience to do this for 4 hours. Or actually more than 4 hours yesterday. So because everything goes right in this world. Everything, there's no issues here. And if they are, I can fix them. And if there's issues, I created them. And I can fix them. But I'm almost there with video games. The more games you play, the more of the shortcomings you see of it. And the games basically come in two flavors. They come in games that move too slow and put me to sleep, like something like Civilization, or like ones that are like you can't be left alone for a moment because you're like being attacked. Like, geez, just give me a second, All right, Marcus. Man, you were quiet today. Probably try and get something done. Yeah, if you guys type shit, you can't get anything done. Had a really good day yesterday, though. And I'm not dreading going to work. I know. I'm going to eat my words for saying something like that. It's better to have an attitude of like, all right, how am I going to get fucked? And then you don't get fucked and like, yay! Instead of like, we're going to have a good day today. Bohica time. Stay humble. If the movie was better, I'd actually watch The Purge with my daughter. But my daughter and I would be having these conversations like, if you're going to defend your house, why would you use something that has 5 rounds? Like, I don't care what caliber it is. You only get 5 shots. Well, you better only have you better be a good shot and have only one person coming. Reading's too relaxing. And that doesn't mean I don't like reading. I'm just like, I'm not very successful at reading. Unless I'm like reading stuff in front of you guys. And it's not that I'm ADD. I don't think I'm ADD. I just it's too relaxing. I got spanked too many times to be ADD. That's for people that didn't have any corporal punishment done to you by parents. Oh, he's just exploring being a unicorn. Like, one of my favorite things of gaming that I've ever done is when I played games with Mitch, and if you've watched any of my videos, I talk about like, all right, I can do this, but the ramifications are this, or I can do this. And I love talking about what my options are and verbalizing it. And I want to say overthinking it, but it's not really overthinking it, but just looking at all and verbalizing it, because if I don't do that, I might actually be overlooking something and might actually like miss out on doing something cool. So that's one of my favorite things to do. And some people, that doesn't work for some people. Some people are like, well, you're going to tell your opponent what your plan is. I'm like, do I have a fucking plan? I don't have a plan. You know? My plan in playing those war games is like, you're in a situation, right? You're in a situation that however you set up or what you're dealing with or whatever in this game, you have forces and you have a situation. And I don't even think about it. Like, okay, how do you improve your situation and make your opponent's position worse? That's the game. That's every game. That's okay. My guys are strung out. Let's regroup them. Those guys are causing us problems. Let's pin them down while we can move the other guys to go and engage them in close combat. Everything is a situation like that. How do you improve your situation? Hopefully, I mean, there's still die rolls involved, and that guy's turn didn't come up, but that's basically how everything is. So, if you have a rigid plan of like, all right, well, we need to make sure that we get these bishops into this corner so we can pin this guy down and then end up checkmating. That's too complicated. That's too many things can go sideways. And then the next thing you know, all that effort that you took thinking about it was wasted. I hate wasting my time. But that's some of the best gaming I've ever done, is verbalizing what I'm thinking about. I really enjoy that a lot. And especially if there's like a back and forth banter of what's going on. Not necessarily trying to beat somebody. If you play against decent people that you don't mind losing to, who cares who wins, right? If you're playing against dickheads, yeah, you can't win. But don't invite dickheads to your house. It's like, well, what do you do when somebody shows up at your house and you don't want to? I don't tell them where I fucking live. How are you going to get here? I said before, like, we're going to go game at Tony's house. Cool. Meet me at this rest area. Why the rest area? Work with me, right? So you get in, you give everybody ball gags and put sacks over their head, and then bring them over here to the garage, and then you tell, and then when you're done, you can leave. That way you can't show up and start gaming with me when I don't want you here. Because you could turn into a dickhead, a sore loser, or whatever. I don't want to deal with you anymore. I don't have any issues with local people, but there are people like that. And some of you guys put up with them. I know lots of people who have a club, and there's always, everything's going fine until Jack and Jill showed up. And no, it's not a male and a female. It's two dudes, or maybe it's only one dude, but he's a pain in the ass. And he runs everybody into the ground. Everybody hates him, but he keeps showing up. And that fucker's there every time, right? You might have Bill and Frank and James that come and go. Different people come, but that dickhead shows up every fucking time because his purpose in life, until the devil takes his fucking soul, is to make everybody's life miserable. How do you guys put up with that? Oh, well, you can't tell him he's an asshole. Yeah, you fucking can. I fucking hate you. You have the social skills of an armadillo. I'm not gaming with you again. I mean, it's like, and I know so many people that put up with this. And it's like, okay, I get it. If you run a game at a convention, right? If you run a game at a convention and this guy always shows up, you can't just ban him from your game. That's why I'm not going to run games at a convention. There's two people I can think of that I'm never going to play a game with again. And they're not people you've seen on film. Okay? So they're not local people. But they're people that always show at conventions. They're always there. And I'm never playing a game with them before. Why? Because I've played a game with them before, and they ruin the experience. And there's no fixing them. There's one guy in particular that's kind of halfway between a pain in the ass and not. And I played with him recently. And he wasn't a problem because I knew what to expect. And I was kind of almost like, it wasn't a whole lot of effort, but I was a little bit of a cheerleader for him. So I was like trying to incorporate it into like, yeah, let's go do that. Yeah, let's go do that, whatever. And then he was fine, right? He just needed somebody to like, he needed some team spirit, right? So there's hope for him. But these other two people, you give them $1 million fucking dollars and they would complain because the bills weren't facing the right way, right? Those kind of people. There's no hope for those people. And I'm not even talking about people that smell bad, because that hasn't even worked its way into the equation. But, yeah, I'm not playing games with those people anymore. Like, this is what I enjoy doing. The game forces you to play with people that are there. So, I want to pick who's in my game. Three people. Not two people, three people. One guy's got a condition. He's got some kind of condition where he's all over the fucking place. Like, he literally will stop the entire game, ask you a question, and while you're in the middle of answering what he asked you for, what he stopped the game and asking for, he's already interrupting himself to ask another question. Like, whoa, 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 whoa! You're the one that was interested in this answer, so you will fucking listen. And he's just like, that's what this guy's shtick is. And I'm like, no, I'm not dealing with you anymore. But most people are right. But most people are too tolerant. Most people are like, well, we can't say that to him. I mean, you're ruining the fucking experience. Like, somebody needs to stand up to this guy, right? Like, this guy's parents basically let him get away with anything. That's what I think what the problem is. Like, you didn't know who your dad was, and he didn't set a good example, or both. So one of these two people I'm never playing a game with. Well, I don't know how this is gonna work, but I'm like, if I ever see them like they literally picked up figures and threw them on the ground. There were somebody else's figures too, and nobody said anything to them. And I'm like, that's the last time I'm not saying something to somebody. Like, I'm gonna call them a something or another, and it wasn't even my figures. I mean, they were aghast, but nobody said anything. No. I'm old and crotchety now. I'm allowed to say things. Actually, I'm not old, but I'm going to act like I'm old. Fuck it. Somebody needs to stand up to these people nobody's stood up to before. No, Mitch was telling me about, there was some guy, when he was up north, that would always show up to the weekly meetings, and he would smell bad, and he had poor hygiene, and nobody would say anything to him. I'm like, it is your social responsibility to straighten these fuckers out, or get them out of your life, You might hurt their feelings. Well, that's what somebody needs to hurt their feelings and make them feel like, look, you're never going to get fucking laid, all right? You're never going to have it, like, clean your fucking act up, You're not 8 years fucking old anymore. You went to a local game. What's in this purple drink, man? It's like, it's purple Coke. Ah! I went to a local game shop a few weeks ago, and there's no sugar in it, because, yeah, if that sugar, yeah, I'd go off on a rant. Went to a local game shop a few weeks ago. Their local group was in attendance. My eldest granddaughter only lasted a few minutes and wandered off outside. She was nearly barfing with a stench. There's no excuse for that. There is no excuse for that. They make deodorant in everybody's size. You should be showering every fucking day. I don't care if you're European. You should be showering every fucking day. Put on deodorant. Change your clothes. Don't wear clothes. I mean, you look at these people, and it's like, how do you have a job? And they don't, or they get away with it there too. Like, how do you not? I grew up at a time, and you probably did too, Barnes, where if you did something that wasn't socially approved, you'd get, I mean, your peers would be brutal. Peers would be brutal. Like, you couldn't get away with now going to school. Not that I would want to do this, because I'm not, what is it that I am? Anal retentive? No, that's not it. That's not what it is. I forget what it is. I actually came up with a term for it. I'm just not, I'm disordered. Speaking of disorder, we got to fix this shit right here. You couldn't wear two different colored socks. If you wore socks of two different colors, I don't know why you would think that would be an okay idea to do. Your peers would be ruthless to you. Just absolutely ruthless. My daughter won't go into a game store with me. She thinks those kids are weird. And it's true. They're freaking weird. Comic book dweebs, all that stuff. And everybody nerds out about something. It might be sports. You might be some nerd that all you know is, how far somebody, what your favorite rugby player is or something like that. Oh, well, that's a man's sport. I say, you're still nerding out over the stats, dude. But man, wear some freaking deodorant. Shower. Like, for one, I can't go to bed and not shower before I go to bed. And I mean, yesterday, I was home all day, right? I didn't go anywhere. That's not true. I went to the grocery store for a moment. But if I was home all day, I'm still taking a shower before I go to bed. I have to. I'll fail them or I'll check. Ugh. Well, I shaved last night on purpose so I wouldn't be so rushed this morning. I think this looks all right. This looks all right for what it is. Maybe a couple more levels of this. Now it hasn't become so unpleasant to do. Looks like they're living in a house with corkboard on the inside. Must be a Portuguese house. Only ones who can afford that much cork. Cork's really expensive in the United States. But this is where we're going to leave off for now. We'll be back in the evening. Girls don't get back for a couple more days, so we'll have some uninterrupted painting if I want to. They let me pretty much do everything I want. I'm right here, right where they can keep an eye on me. So, all right, folks, thanks for stopping by.